Hey guys, it's me, EODGamer here, and I have plenty of tips that I want to share with you for the new Pure Fiction event in Honkai Star Rail. Now you can see here, we just cleared it off live on Twitch yesterday. We just tried it in like a couple of runs. It was full auto battle, but I think the tips that I'll have here will be very helpful for any of you trying to get the max clear or getting close to there as well, regardless of how many limited characters that you have. I know everyone's like saying use this, use that character. I'll give you some options, so not to worry. And the first things first, before we are watching this, why do you even want to care about this event? Is it much better than Memory of Chaos? One thing's for sure, you get the same amount of rewards as the Memory of Chaos. So 720 here, 720 for Memory of Chaos. So it's basically equivalent to the meta. So anyone that was farming for MOC previously, Pure Fiction shouldn't have a discount factor at all. It's just as important as a game mode for the amount of stellar jades that we get. And it's not very easy also because it requires a very different kind of roster. 720 for 4 battles only. That's 160 each stage, right? Or even more than that. That is crazy efficient. 180 rather. 180 is 360 times 2, that's 720. Massive amounts of rewards for different of these stages. Okay, but basically that's like the TLDR of why you want to play this. Let me give you some real cold hard tips right now. The first thing that I want to talk about is a character like Runmei. She's currently on banner and everyone knows, but even if you don't play this character, you don't have this character, what I'm saying here will make sense for whatever other character you're building, so do take a listen. I think Runmei is super good here because of the ability for her to fit into either half of the team, and she is a character that does Break Effect. Break Effect might not sound very fancy at first, but when you realize that Break Effect does almost one-shot squishies, if you have a very well built, for example, fire Break Effect dealer, or even a physical Break Effect dealer, Runmei capitalizes on that and explodes the squishies in like barely like 1 or 2 shots, which you can see them pop very madly, especially if you stack on the certain buffs in currently Pure Fiction, which is like this shatter buff. When they explode, they like do damage and stuff like that, which it stacks up really nicely, I think, with Runmei. So one of the favorite characters in Pure Fiction, and that would be my first tip, is Break Effect. You wanna, if you don't have the resources to go like full crit damage, crit rate, crit damage, because all of them are used by your Jingliu, they're used like by your Blade, Imbibitor, Lune, Zealers and stuff, you don't have time to refarm gear for every single character. So my saving grace for you is run Break Effect. Let me just show you how joke my Argentine is. I have him at a 50-100 ratio, and he has 100 Break Effect with absolutely dog tier gear. Like, what is this? 2-piece broken gear and nothing else with a Break Effect link rope, and yet he dealt a lot of damage. He was the thing that helped me 3 stars on full auto, so very, very strong. It just showcases the strength of Break Effect, which is the second thing I'll talk about. Argentine, I think he's like the king of this mode. But even if you don't have him, there are many options available to us, so don't panic like, oh my god, it's just another Argentine erudition video.
Champion beauty.
He's interrupting me right now because that's how chatty is. But so let me give you some options. If you don't have Argentine, what are some other characters that you can play? I think, because I'm going to here because I do not have this character yet, but it's a character like Clara. If you have Clara on your account, go ahead and play her. She does very nice amounts of AoE physical, works very well here too. The reason why physical actually does matter quite a bit in this game mode is because if you look into the Moss mode here, and let's go into number 4. Number 4 is probably the hardest. Number 3 also has its typing, but the concepts here will pretty much the same. You can see when we kick into physical, almost everything here is weak to physical. The only one that isn't weak is probably not a problem. If this guy, like this fire guy, is your problem, let me know in the comments below. I really need to have some help session with you guys. But jokes aside, physical very, very strong in this floor. Of course, ice is very strong also. Jingliu works really well here too. In the Memory of Chaos, she works very well, so she transferred over like pretty nicely. And these, of course, are the 2 teams that I use to clear on full auto, and the spell I use is this Erupt. But not everyone has my roster, not everyone has these characters as well. Let me give you another tip to help you out a little bit on your way. A character that got a lot stronger, other than like talking about Runmei, Argentine, is a character like Himiko. We did a video once on our channel way back in like version 1.0, 1.1, where asking, will Himiko ever become meta? And today is the day. Every dog has its days, as the quote goes, and Himiko is way stronger right now. The reason for that is her follow-up ability, this Victory Rush, is so strong. Every time she procs 3, she does an AoE attack that hits everyone. And the more squishies that are weak to it, she just like one-shots all of them with Break Effect, especially when combined together with Runmei. She's breaking everyone with just one skill. and they are squishy, so their break resistance is like kind of low. She just keeps proccing this talent ability, which in turn feeds her out. In turn, she just uses her skill non-stop, dealing tons and tons of damage, even if you just build her for like break effect. So Himiko stonks. Himiko, in my opinion, now is an S tier character in this game mode. Very, very, very strong. Like, if Argent is the king, Himiko is the queen. Basically the equivalent. So that is the erudition class. As a whole, that's another tip that I have for you. As a whole, the class that saw the highest bump is erudition class. Not only Argent, not only Himiko. In fact, I think if you have a character like Serval unbuilt, Serval is worth considering if you don't have Kafka in your account. I think Serval is very, very good. Even characters like Herta also got a huge bump up in this event because she pairs very nicely with ice weakness enemies here. You can just keep spinning, breaking all the ice weaknesses very, very quickly. Even if you pair with like a character like Ronmei, the damage does stack up very crazily quickly, very, very fast. Because as you can see, almost everyone is also weak to ice, with the exception of like maybe 3 mobs here. Slightly more than physical, but still very, very weak to ice too. So, and that's another option. And erudition as a class got much better as a whole. The only one that I think was only like marginally better compared to the rest of them is Jingyuan, because Jingyuan doesn't really scale with the number of units on field. I'd like to see him with a bit more of a varying kit, but he still got a lot stronger because lightning is in demand, erudition is in demand, so Jingyuan also kind of benefited from that. Any AoE character really did benefit from it too. So that is the next tip that I have. Then the question will be like, what other characters are good from the sustain role? I like Huo Huo because she's offensive. I like Fu Shen because she's offensive. I hardly take out my Luota for my teams, but I felt this time I had to take him out because he's a little bit more defensive than offensive, and Imaginary Break is not that great at like one-shotting squishies without Ronmei. So that is one of the reasons I took him out. I wanted a more offensive unit like Huo Huo to give more damage potential as well. There are some people that I've seen clearing this stage running triple DPS, 1 harmony, no sustain at all, and that is actually a very viable strat, because if you realize to get the full 3 stars, you don't need to survive. You don't need to have one character alive, or I mean all characters must be alive and stuff like that. You can have 2 characters, 3 characters dead. I haven't tested all dead yet. Don't know whether the round just ends or whether it fails. I haven't tried that myself because none of our characters died. But you can have 3 characters dying and you still can get the max clear. So that is why dishing out the DPS is a lot more important than keeping your characters alive, especially if you just want to burst them down in the 3 turns as much as you can. So very, very big difference for Memory of Chaos, which means support characters that are defensive actually got a bump lower. Support characters that are offensive might be still higher if they contribute to other sense. Like here, Huo Huo gives energy, gives attack, which is valuable for a character like Argent, for a character like Jingliu who cares about all those stuff too. So that is why I still play her. Fu Shen, on the other hand, is just very good because she provides a lot of quantum break on the enemies. She also gives crit rate buffing to the whole team, does some sort of like damage on her own as well. So it's relatively offensive for her overall kit. So I think that these 2 probably shine the most out of all of the defensive characters. Maybe Mark 7s are okay if you want to hit like some break on all of them, but probably not significantly better. You could always like swap out for another unit. So that is aside. Healers aside, erudition aside, those are like the major things that most people will be wanting to know. The next question that I have that get answered a lot is, if you don't have a character like Himiko, who is your alternative? I think there are mainly Gui Naifen is the 4-star alternative to Himiko. She hits in an AoE fashion as well. Asta is like probably okay if you want fire break damage and you are looking for a harmony character to buff your other characters for more DPS, because maybe you realize DPS is the issue. I think you can build Asta as well. She works nicely with break effect too. Very cheap to build also. So that is a 4-star alternative to Himiko. Kafka I played here. You can always play a character like Serval. She's free to play. She bursts so quickly with her low burst cost and traces that help her out. So that is another alternative. You can run, for example, Pella instead of Jingliu if you don't have her. Also very, very strong. Herta for Jingliu also would work pretty well. For Argent, if you don't have him, Clara is an excellent choice. And here's the bit more trickier one. I think physical MC might also be usable if you build like physical MC for break effect, not caring about crit rate, crit damage. Very cheap to build, so you can just like switch out her gear, build her for break effect. Will probably be doing a lot as well. And you really just want to keep proccing those breaks, because another huge tip that I have, and probably is the last one for this video, is you do not need to kill the Jabhat boss. You do not need to kill Sabarok in order to get the 30k. You can just keep eliminating squishies with weakness break, whatever knot that you have, and you will hit the 30k with Savarok and Japat still left on the field. That is very, very different because it affects your game composition. You don't really need a single target damage dealer like Zealer. But anyways, that is just my tips that I have for you. Let me know if I missed out any and you want to add some as well. There's so much to cover. It's only been barely a day old. But anyways guys, hope you found this video helpful. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you in the next video.